My name is Greg Callaghan, and I'm a co-founder of Strata Leadership. The mission of Strata is to educate and equip young Catholic leaders to positively impact their communities by modeling the gospel values of service, justice, and community. My brother Jeff, my friend Catherine, and I founded Strata in 2014. We lived across the United States, and we relied on 21st century digital collaboration tools to conduct our business. We used Google Drive to draft our mission statement, to write our bylaws, and to create agendas. We've held brainstorm sessions, shared YouTube videos, and tackled the paperwork to file as a nonprofit, all on Google Hangouts. My colleagues and I founded Strata in order to support student government in Northern California, from Fresno to Santa Rosa, from Monterey to Stockton. This is a lot of territory to cover, especially since we all hold full-time jobs and live in 3 different cities. We are very pleased with the workshops that we've run with students, but how can we reach the moderators and teachers and principals who may be less than enthusiastic to attend a weekend workshop? How can we keep our costs down and distribute quality materials? How can we facilitate a networking environment from across the state? The answer was staring at us in our webcams. Webinars. Every webinar I have attended has bored me to death. I've been encouraged to mute my microphone and listen to the disembodied voice on the other side of the screen, read a script, and match a PowerPoint. The content was not always relevant to my school and our circumstances, and it felt like a punishment to sit through. I never knew how many other people were on the line or if they had any ideas to contribute. The webinars I've watched have felt very corporate, too businessy, too impersonal. My colleagues and I agree. We want Strata to be personal, and we want to develop relationships with our schools and moderators. We want them to know our faces and to collaborate with us. We want Strata to be useful. There are a lot of webinar options out there, but like most technologies used for education, many of them were built for the business world. My first search showed that many options are built for hundreds of attendees. We think realistically at Strata and know that our numbers will be much smaller. I was nervous too to try a new platform. If I, as a young tech-savvy guy, am uncomfortable using a new technology, how can I expect our moderators to navigate a new service? The options were truly overwhelming, as were the prices. Since Strata is a brand new nonprofit, we have to be financially responsible. Spending $80 per month is not realistic for us. If only Google Hangouts were a little more formal for webinars. Webinars on Air to the rescue. Webinars on Air, WOA, is built on the Google Plus platform and enhances the experience for the webinar moderator and participants. There is a cost associated with WOA, but it is a much more affordable option for us at Strata. WOA does not charge an annual fee, and users can cancel the service during any months when they do not host a webinar. WOA makes it very easy to set up and schedule a webinar. With just a few simple steps, I was able to schedule the date and time, customize the title and description, and add my panelists. WOA can accommodate up to 9 panelists per webinar. This ability to collaborate and have more than one host will be very useful for the Strata team. We'll all be able to participate in and run the webinar together. We can sync WOA with our email list, and WOA will automatically send reminders to attendees leading up to the webinar. Should we ever choose to charge for any of our webinars, we can set the price and link our PayPal account to WOA. Moderators can pay at the time they register, and Strata will collect 100% of the profits. WOA gives us the ability to customize our registration page and include our logo and contact information. Registration is simple for our moderators. Once they hit the button, they're sent a link to join the webinar. WOA can be run on any device, desktop, laptop, tablet, or phone, any device with a mobile browser. Since WOA is so adaptable across platforms, student council moderators can participate in the webinar from virtually anywhere with wireless access. From the webinar host's viewpoint, WOA is run almost exactly like a Google Hangout. WOA has a few more options to expand the webinar's professionalism and functionality. The webinar attendees do not need Google Hangouts to participate in the webinar. It's all run through the browser. I tested on both my iPad and my laptop, and I was able to use all of the features on both. WOA supports collaboration. From the very beginning, webinar hosts can set the audio and video preferences for the attendees and can activate the group chat panel, which runs on the side of the screen. Everyone can participate in the group chat. It's important for us to keep the feedback loop open. The host has the option to activate or deactivate participants' cameras and microphones and to set the audio levels for everyone. Additionally, the host can choose which person shows up on the large screen. I can see this being a very helpful feature for roundtable discussions or group brainstorming sessions. WOA includes a question and answer feature and the option to make responses private or public. My favorite feature is the Raise Your Hand feature. Attendees can click the small hand icon on their screen and the host is notified that someone has their hand raised. This virtually replaces raising a hand in a traditional classroom. We can use it for questions, volunteers, or quick assessments. It's also a private and unobtrusive way for a participant to alert the host that he or she may be having trouble with the material. WOA allows for live polling of participants and can publish the results for everyone to see. I can imagine using this feature for quick surveys about practices at school or as a quick exit ticket. As with Google Hangouts, WOA gives users the options to share their screens in a number of ways, which will be useful if all of the webinar's participants need to look at the same web page or document. Within the webinar, I can include a download link for any online materials, and I can customize the offer with our brand and logo. This would be a great way to share a PDF of the PowerPoint or any other materials used in the webinar. WOA offers a quick way to redirect all attendees to another website at the end of the webinar. Since we at Strada are interested in improving our practices, I imagine we would use this feature to direct our participants to an evaluation tool on Google Forms. At the end of the webinar, WOA automatically uploads the broadcast footage to YouTube. It's uploaded as a private video, and hosts can publish the link if they wish. Strada can upload these videos to our website and create an online webinar gallery for our members. As with all promising technologies, there are some cons to webinars on air. Most prominently for me was the 45-second delay time between the host and the participants. Apparently, this is an issue with Google Hangouts on air, something to do with the live broadcast element. I will be curious to see if and how this affects the quality of a webinar for Strada. Given that the webinar is automatically recorded and uploaded to YouTube, some participants may have privacy concerns about the nature of joining a Hangout on air. I hope that in 2015 this would not prohibit people from participating in the webinar, but I can't be sure. Also, if users do not have Google Plus accounts, they will not be able to share video from their screen. They can still view the webinar and participate in the chat, Q&A, polls, etc., but they cannot participate on camera. Some features of WOA were clunky to use. Using the drawing tool was tedious, and I was confused by how and when someone would use the text stamp tool. I think, though, that I would become more comfortable with the text tools with some extended use. Upon my first attempt, I was not impressed. Most alarmingly, I found it difficult to share a PowerPoint with the webinar's participants. Now, WOA has a video tutorial for the best way to share a PowerPoint in full screen view, but I was unable to get it to work. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I could not figure it out in what I consider to be a reasonable amount of time. And of course, there are cons to using new technology with an older generation of junior high student council moderators. How can we ensure that they will understand how to join the webinar? If we ask for audience participation, how can we be sure they will know what to do? Still, despite the cons, I think Webinar on Air is an excellent technology for the Strada leadership team. WOA will help us bring student council into the 21st century and will help us network with our member schools and teachers in a new and exciting way. Just as the physical classrooms of 2015 are shifting away from the older traditional models, so too are the virtual classrooms. WOA will allow us to adapt our in-person moderator workshops into a creative online resource. Our webinars will not be traditional online lectures. Instead, I think our webinars will be an online think tank full of activities that promote communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. Webinars on air would allow us to coach more and to encourage our participants to ask questions, to participate fully in discussions, and to physically show examples of their work using webcams. Webinars on air would afford us the opportunity to create a more immediate feedback loop between us and our member schools to make sure that we are fully addressing their concerns. The moderator workshops that we ran a few years ago were poorly attended and terribly old-fashioned. By using webinars on air, we would enhance Strata's ability to reach more schools and help create a strong network of junior high student councils in Northern California. This technology gives Strata a global, or at least a regional, platform to promote our mission and to meet the needs of our schools.